So hi everyone, I'm Maggie Ostara and I'm welcoming you to episode number 17 of What's New with Human Design. And this is a kind of a vulnerable share that I have for you today. And I'm just going to bring this just a little too close. Okay. Doesn't get work. All right, that's better. I don't want you totally in my face. So today the sun moved into the gate 27, which in traditional human design is known as the mother or grandmother gate. It's a very nurturing, loving, caring type of energy, and it's very sweet. And I don't have this energy defined in my chart, but I have its mate, which is the gate 50, which we talked about last week. And so when you have one gate that's defined, it's called a hanging gate if it doesn't have its mate. So if you notice in your chart, you see, there's a gate that you have, but it doesn't go all the way over to the next center. It's known as a hanging gate, and its mate is known as an electromagnetic. And so we are always drawn to people who have the other side of our hanging gate. So I have the 50 defined in my chart, and then the 27 is its mate. So I have attracted many people into my life who have the 27. And so I've experienced that energy a lot. And when one of the gates, really any part of the chart, is open, you take in that energy and amplify it. So in certain situations, you might even know the energy of something that is the other side, is an electromagnetic for you more than you even know the one that you have defined. So for me, in that case, it would be the 50, but I know the 27 really well. So I do know that 27 energy really well. I feel like the mother archetype is really strong in me. And I've always had a mother energy, but it's come on even more since I had my kid, right? As you might imagine. Then the Earth is in the gate 28, which is on the spleen center, so it's another fear gate, like we talked about last time. The 50 is a fear gate, and it's known in traditional human design as the gate of struggle. And that's a really negative way of thinking about this energy. I mean, I understand why Ra called it that. But it's also, you've probably heard this advice to see how can you turn something that's really negative in your life that you might be struggling with into seeing it as a challenge, that you get to meet a challenge, and then the next step would be to turn that into an opportunity. And the Chinese character, I think it's Mandarin, I should double check that, but I just know it as a Chinese character, is the same for challenge and opportunity. And I love that it's actually built into the language that we have a choice at any moment. And so when it comes to the gate 28, which is the Earth is lighting that up right now, that energy, which I do have defined in my chart, and it's half of what's known as the channel of struggle in traditional human design, the 2838. And it's part of the knowing circuit. It's an individual energy, and it's part of the knowing circuit. And I have to say, there have definitely been big periods of my life, especially when I was younger, when I experienced a lot of struggle. When I really felt like I was just struggling against whatever. It was kind of like my attitude towards whatever was happening, right? As I'm struggling with this, and then as I've grown and matured and come to, develop myself more, I got this piece about challenge and opportunity. And the great piece of that is knowing that while we're not in command of everything that the flow of life dishes up for us, right? I mean, we know that, right? We're not in command of that. There are things that the flow of life brings to us that we're like, wow, where the heck did that come from? Like, really? I think a lot of people have felt like that about COVID, right? And all of the kind of consequences of COVID. So we're not necessarily in command of everything that happens, right? But what we are in command of is our response to what happens. And I think the gate 28 is one of the most really explicit and clear examples of that in the human design chart. Because, like I said, it was named struggle. And we've come to kind of go, okay, well, that is the disempowered state of this energy, is to feel like you're just struggling, right? Usually against some power that you feel is bigger or stronger than you are. And being able to turn that into challenge and then even into opportunity. In quantum human design, Karen Curry Parker, who created quantum human design, has even renamed it adventure. So if you can take a challenge and turn it into an adventure. So I want to just talk a little bit about what's going on for me in my life right now, in the hope that this will help you to really kind of see the way that human design is real in your life, and the influence of the energy is real in your life, and how you can really utilize it for helping you in your life. Okay, so right now I'm in Seattle, and I'm here because my mother is in hospice, and my mother has been ill with dementia for a number of years. She has also been in the memory care unit for 5 years now, and until fairly recently, even though her mind was deteriorating, her body was really pretty strong. She was mobile. She was able to interact with the residents. She was able to perform most of her functions on her own. And very recently, that changed. And now she's not mobile, and now she's not able to take care of herself. And so she has taken a big step forward in her transition into her next life, her next experience of life. And so I have my choice about how to experience this situation, what's happening, right? So I could struggle against it, as many people do. I could insist that we do absolutely everything possible to keep her alive for as long as possible, which would mostly just be coming out of my own needs. I mean, I don't really think that has anything to do with her needs at this point. But lots of people do feel that way. It's hard for them to let go, and then so they struggle. You could turn it into a challenge, which would be to potentially, the word confront came to mind, but that's not what I mean. But it could be your attitude of confronting the loss, confronting the grief, and seeing that as a challenge that you're going to take on. I know I've spoken with many of you and heard from you in comments that you've made and so on, as I've shared some of my story about my mom, that many of you have parents and have had parents who are, suffering from Alzheimer's or dementia, and you've been in a similar journey as the one that I've been on with my mom. And so part of the reason I share this is I think that it is something that many of us are going through or have been through. And so the grief process is really a strange one when your parent has Alzheimer's or dementia, because in some ways my mom has been gone for a long time. You know, my mom hasn't been my mom for, I don't know, probably 8 years, at least 9 years. And so, but the process of the disease process is slow, and at least in her case, and I think in many people's cases it is. So I've kind of grieved on and off at different points along the way. But it's a funny thing because I haven't been able to grieve fully because she's still been in her body. So the challenge for me has been to really meet this situation, and to be present to my own feelings, to be present to what's going on with my mom, and to make my way with as much kind of compassion and love for my own experience and for my mom's experience. And I've also decided to take this and turn it into opportunity, which is opportunity to be with her as in the ways that I can. I mean, I live 2 states away from her, and so I can't see her super regularly, but I have made a commitment over the last few years to come and see her quite a bit. Last year during COVID, I was not allowed to, except for a quick 20-minute visit outside last summer. That was what I was allowed. So I did see her a few weeks ago. I came because she had this decline, and I honestly wasn't sure how long she was going to be here. So I jetted up here just to see her overnight, and then this time I'm here for the week, and I'm going to see her a few different times. And so I'm taking this situation and going, what is my opportunity, right, in being with her with this? And I want to just share something that happened yesterday that I think illustrates this. So I went to go see her at 11 a.m. because I had been told, and I think this is true, that that's a good time for her. Generally between like 11 and 2. So I went, and they had gotten her up because they knew that I was coming to see her. But, she had gotten her dressed and brushed her teeth and everything. And I had her breakfast ready to help her with her breakfast. And she completely went back to sleep. She wasn't ready to get up to see me. And she actually slept for almost 2 hours. And I stayed there by her wheelchair, and I had my iPad, and so I watched a video that I'd been wanting to watch, and I did some work, and I just made the best use of my time. And and I'm going through my mind. I'm going, well, I could leave and come back later. I could leave and kind of chalk it up to, well, okay, I came, I didn't see her, but I decided to stay. I was like, well, I'm here to see her, so I'm going to hang out. And then she woke up. But she was pretty out of it for quite a while, like almost another hour. Again, I was like, what this challenge is how do I relate to her? Can I relate to her? And then after about an hour, she kind of woke up more and became a little more lively. And we were able to interact a little bit more. And I had created a playlist on Spotify of older music that I knew she liked. And she kind of perked up when she heard some of that. And she doesn't actually say words or talk anymore. She kind of babbles. So she'll make sounds, but it's not even words, right? It's just like not even word salad, if you know what that is. She used to have word salad where she would say words, but they were all jumbled up. So, but she started babbling more, and I held her hand, and I was just kind of stroking her arm, and I leaned over and I kissed her cheek. And I just spend most of my time there telling her how much I love her and what a great mom she's been. And I let her know about what's been happening with the family and, things like that. And it was like this hit that I got because she smelled like my mom. She smelled like my mom. Makes me want to cry just to even say it. And it was like this memory of my mom. On this really, really deep level, that smell, can bring about. And I don't know what was true for her, but something happened for her too. I don't know if it's because there was the response that I had, or I don't know if she smelled me. I don't know, but she became even more animated, and I reached around and I just put my arm around her because she's in a wheelchair, so it's a little awkward, But I just put my arm around her, and I was stroking her neck, and I put my hand on her shoulder, and it was just like this moment of just like, yeah, this is my mom. I almost didn't put on makeup today because I was like, oh no, I'm gonna cry. Oh well, if it runs, it runs. And I was like, wow, this is like a moment of just this deep connection with her. And it was so sweet. And she started stroking my arm. And I was just like, yeah, it's Maggie and Mom here. Yeah, it was extraordinary. And I stayed as long as I could. I actually started hurting my back after a while. So I had to shift. But I share this with you because this 28 energy is really alive this week. Like I said, I have it defined in my chart, so I work with it all the time. I mean, honestly, we can work with any of these energies at any time. They're just more accessible to us when they're defined, as the earth is defining it this week. Which is that if I had just, decided, oh, well, Mom is too far gone and not visited her at all, or when I visited her and she was asleep, I could have left, or when she woke up and she was still really out of it, I could have just given up then. But I just kept being like, what's the opportunity in this moment? Like, how can I stay with it and do my best to meet with her. And I did. And I did. And it was extraordinary. It was extraordinary. And so my invitation to you is to look inside of your own life where you may be feeling that you're struggling with something or really challenged with something. And look for the opportunity, which you probably have heard before. I mean, this is not a new idea, right? But you might even look for the adventure, depending on what it is. Because life is going to throw stuff at us. It's going to happen. It's going to come through other people. It's going to come through situations like a pandemic. It's going to happen, if you're a woman, through misogyny, if you're a person of color, through racism. I mean, it's going to happen. And so the question is how do you respond? What choices do you make? So the earth is giving you a lot of support with that right now. And as you're able to move into this more empowered state, this awakened state of opportunity or even adventure, you'll create a foundation for yourself for experiencing the Gate 27, which is this loving, nurturing, caring mother, grandmother energy. And the thing you want to watch out for is that this energy can become controlling or submissive in being codependent. So you want to watch out for that. So the shadow of the 27 is a kind of controlling, what we think of as the narcissistic, but I would just think of it as a controlling parental energy. Or the shadow of it is being submissive and just trying to placate somebody else, and not being in touch with your own needs and having boundaries and things like that. But when it's beautifully expressed in its awakened aspect, and it's supported by this energy of adventure and opportunity, then you'll be able to express your caring and your love, and you'll be able to receive it from others also, while also still having boundaries and respect and awareness for each other's needs. So that's your opportunity for this week. And I would kind of wrap this up here at this point to say that, these reports that I do every 6 days or so about what's new with human design, you could think of this as guidance for you around that 28 energy to be like, okay, how am I going to understand what the influences are that are coming this week? And then how do I turn whatever challenge or struggle I have into opportunity or adventure? Because remember, the 28 energy is always available to you. It's especially available this week, but it's always available to you, especially when you start to tune into it and play with it and practice with it. Okay. All right, dears, that is my share for this week. Thanks so much for watching and for being here. And please do leave a comment if you choose to, and I always respond to all the comments later. All right. Many blessings. Much love. Bye for now.